Have you ever wondered about the defining moments that shaped the world we live in today? Picture this. The year is 1914, and the planet is about to be plunged into a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. The First World War, a clash that redefined nations, reshaped global power dynamics, and revolutionized warfare. It's not just about understanding the past, it's about making sense of the present. The echoes of those deafening gunfires still reverberate in the corridors of time. So, sit back, relax, and buckle up, history buffs. Let's dive into a tale of power, strategy, and humanity as we explore the events of World War I. Every war starts with a spark, and the fuse for World War I was no different. Picture the morning of June 28, 1914. The air is thick with tension as Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife, Sophie, are assassinated in Sarajevo. This shocking event sets off a chain reaction, igniting the kindling of political tensions and alliances that were delicately balanced among the major powers. The world at this time was a tangled web of alliances and rivalries. On one side there was the Triple Entente, a cordial understanding among Britain, France, and Russia. On the other, the Central Powers, namely Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, bound together by the Triple Alliance. These alliances weren't just friendly handshakes, they were promises of support, of backup in case things got ugly. And ugly they got. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand was the match that lit this explosive situation. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, declared war on Serbia, where the assassins were from. Russia, bound by its alliance with Serbia, mobilized its forces. Germany, seeing Russia's mobilization as a threat, declared war on Russia. France, allied with Russia, was pulled into the fray against Germany and Austria-Hungary. And when Germany violated Belgium's neutrality to attack France, Britain, obligated by treaties, declared war on Germany. It was like a cascade of dominoes, each falling onto the next, escalating the conflict with each tumble. The world watched in stunned silence as these events unfurled, the spark growing into a raging fire. Within weeks, the major powers of the world were at each other's throats, their alliances forcing them into a war that no one really wanted, but everyone was prepared for. And with that, the world was plunged into a conflict like no other. With the dawn of the 20th century came advancements that forever changed the face of warfare. Imagine a world where the battlefield is no longer dominated by the strength of a soldier's arm or the accuracy of his aim. Instead, the power of technology has taken center stage. In the First World War, this became a reality. The machine gun, a weapon of destruction and defense, made its grand debut. Soldiers no longer had to rely solely on single-shot rifles. With this new invention, they could unleash a hailstorm of bullets on their enemies, turning any offensive attack into a suicide mission. But the machine gun wasn't the only game changer. The rapid-fire field artillery gun came with its own set of terrifying advantages. Imagine a single weapon that could unleash a barrage of shells in quick succession, raining down destruction on enemy lines. The battlefield was no longer a place for the faint of heart. Trench warfare also changed the dynamics of battle. These dugouts, lined with barbed wire, became the new homes for soldiers. They provided protection from the lethal onslaught of machine gun fire and artillery shells, but they also turned warfare into a waiting game. These advancements did more than just change the way battles were fought. They shifted the emphasis from frontal assaults to defensive strategies. Now military leaders had to think twice before ordering a charge. They had to consider not just the strength of their army, but also the strength of their opponent's defenses. The battlefield was no longer just a physical space. It was a strategic puzzle, a game of chess where every move could mean the difference between victory and defeat. But let's not forget, these advancements came with a price. They turned warfare into a more deadly and destructive endeavor. The casualty numbers soared to unprecedented heights, forever imprinting the horrors of war on the minds of those who survived. These advancements set the stage for a war that was to be fought not just on the battlefield, but also in the minds of the strategists. In the theater of war, strategy can be the difference between victory and defeat. Now, let's delve into some of the strategic masterstrokes that shaped the course of World War I. At the heart of these strategic maneuvers was a plan so audacious, so ambitious, it almost defies belief. This was the Schlieffen Plan, a brainchild of German military maestro, Alfred von Schlieffen. The Schlieffen Plan was a daring blueprint, a high-stakes gamble for a quick victory over France, before turning the full might of the German war machine against Russia. The idea was to avoid a drawn-out, costly two-front war. It was a strategy of speed, surprise, and encirclement, aiming to outflank the French army and capture Paris. Now imagine this: a massive wheeling movement of German armies sweeping through Belgium and northern France, like a giant scythe cutting through fields of wheat. The majority of Germany's troop strength was allocated to the right wing to execute this movement, a testament to the audacity of this plan. But the Schlieffen Plan wasn't just about aggressive tactics. It reflected a deeper German military thinking that valued deep flanking attacks and defensive tactics. A thinking that leveraged the power of the modern machine gun and fortified positions. The Germans weren't just looking to win battles, they were looking to win the war, and they were willing to think outside the box to do it. Helmuth von Moltke, who succeeded Schlieffen, carried the torch and continued to follow the plan when war broke out in 1914. It was a bold move, a roll of the dice that could have changed the face of Europe and the world. With the Schlieffen Plan in full swing, the fate of nations hung in the balance as the world held its breath. The stage was set for a conflict that would redefine the nature of warfare and shape the course of the 20th century. In the aftermath of the war, the world was forever changed. The globe had witnessed a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation, and its tremors shook the very foundations of human civilization. The face of Europe was redrawn, with empires crumbling and new nations emerging from their ashes. The war's conclusion marked the end of imperial dominance and the birth of a new political landscape. The world order was reshaped, and with it, the balance of power. But the aftermath wasn't merely geopolitical. Society itself was transformed. The war had mobilized millions, both on the battlefield and at home. It had swept away old norms and attitudes, sparking a wave of social change that swept across continents. Women, having taken on roles traditionally held by men, began demanding equal rights. Workers, galvanized by the sacrifices they'd made, started pushing for better conditions and fairer wages. The seeds of modern social movements were sown in the fertile soil of post-war discontent. The economic cost was staggering. The war had drained nations of their wealth, leaving economies in ruins and societies on the brink of collapse. This economic instability would, in turn, pave the way for further conflict and upheaval in the years to come. And yet, from the ashes of destruction, humanity found the strength to learn and grow. The war served as a harsh reminder of the devastating potential of modern warfare, prompting nations to seek ways to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again. The League of Nations was born out of this desire for peace, marking the first major attempt at international cooperation and conflict resolution. The lessons of World War I were hard-earned and painful, etched in the annals of history with the blood of millions. They taught us about the perils of unchecked nationalism, the dangers of military escalation, and the dire consequences of diplomatic failure. They reminded us of the importance of dialogue, cooperation, and mutual respect in maintaining global peace and stability. And so, the echoes of World War I continue to resonate in our world today. Even as we strive to learn from the past and build a better future, we must never forget the horrors of the Great War, for they serve as a stark reminder of the cost of conflict and the value of peace. So, what have we learned from our journey into the past? We've discovered that the spark that ignited World War I had far-reaching effects, setting the stage for a new era of warfare. Advancements in technology, like the modern machine gun and rapid-fire field artillery gun, dramatically changed the battlefield. The war was defined by strategic moves, including the Schlieffen Plan's audacious flanking attack and defensive tactics. And in the aftermath, we learned hard lessons about the cost of conflict. As we remember World War I, we realize that understanding our past is crucial.